I used to think loyalty mattered. That if you gave people your time, your love, and your effort, they'd stick around. I was wrong. 2 years ago, I was just another broke software developer clinging to a failed startup and a relationship I thought would last forever. Her name was Sophie. We'd been through college, late, night coding marathons, and dreams of building something together. But when my company collapsed, so did her commitment. She left me for her boss, someone who could offer her stability. The worst part, my own sister Iva took her side, said I was delusional, that I needed to grow up and stop chasing impossible dreams. I had no allies, no sympathy, just a secondhand mattress and a fridge full of leftovers. But I made a promise to myself that night I wouldn't prove them wrong. I'd outgrow them. And when they came crawling back, they met someone they never expected. We were both overachievers, constantly chasing scholarships, internships, and late-night projects. Neither of us knew how to slow down. She studied business. I was knee-deep in code. We bonded over ramen dinners, coffee, fueled all-nighters, and dreams of launching something together. Something that would change everything. By graduation, I was all in, not just with her, but with the life I thought we were building. We moved in together right after school. She landed a stable job at a sleek, mid-sized tech firm. I cobbled together a few freelance gigs and poured everything I had into a scrappy little startup. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt like purpose. She supported me at first, or at least she said she did. She brought me coffee, listened to my pitches, asked polite questions, and smiled at the right moments. But I could feel the shift. The first funding round fell through. My prototype glitched during a demo. The platform I'd been developing for months had to be rebuilt from scratch. It was rough, but that's how startups go. Then she said it. You need to think more realistically. Maybe it's time you get a real job. She didn't say it with cruelty, just resignation. Like she'd already decided she was done. The signs piled up. More nights out, with coworkers. Late meetings. Her phone was always locked, turned face down when we ate. She'd come home smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. I should have asked questions. But I didn't want the answers. Because deep down, I already knew. Then came Wednesday. Middle of the afternoon. She was in the shower. I walked past her laptop on the kitchen counter and opened it to check the weather. A message popped up in the corner of the screen. Let's do Napa this weekend, babe. I'll call the hotel. Nathan Whittaker. I froze. Nathan Whittaker. Her boss. The CEO of the firm she worked at. The same man I had interned under 2 summers ago. Charming, wealthy. 40-something. Divorced. A walking LinkedIn success story. I remembered the way he shook my hand. Distracted, disinterested. I'd barely existed in his world. And now, apparently, he was sleeping with my girlfriend. She stepped out of the shower 5 minutes later. Towel in her hair. No idea what I'd seen. I didn't yell. I just turned the screen toward her. No flinching. No panic. Just a sigh. You don't understand, she said slowly. Nathan, he treats me like a woman. Not a project. Not a burden. That was it. No apology. No regrets. Just a confirmation that everything I'd built with her. 3 years, dozens of memories, plans for the future, was over. I packed a duffel bag that night. She watched from the kitchen, arms crossed, saying nothing. The next morning, I called my sister Ava. She was the only person I thought might actually listen. We'd always been close, closer than most siblings. After our mom died, I stepped up. I helped raise her, paid her rent, replaced her transmission when it died. I figured if anyone would have my back, it would be her. I was wrong. When I told her what happened, she was quiet for a long time. Then she said, well, maybe Sophie just needed someone who could give her more stability. That doesn't make her a bad person. I was stunned. She cheated on me, I said flatly. Ava hesitated. I'm not saying that's okay. But I mean, come on. You've been chasing this startup thing for years. She probably just got tired of waiting. That cut deeper than anything Sophie had said. But the final blow didn't come until days later. I saw a photo on Ava's Instagram. She, Sophie, and Nathan, at a rooftop bar I couldn't afford, champagne in hand. The caption read, "Energy is contagious. Surround yourself with winners." At first, I wanted to believe she was tricked into it. That maybe she just tagged along. But I found out later that Sophie had invited Ava out to clear the air. Nathan had offered to connect her with someone from his PR team. Ava, who always chased success from a distance, saw her chance, and she took it. That was when I knew. I didn't just lose Sophie. I lost Ava too. No girlfriend, no sister, no backup plan. And somehow, that emptiness felt like the beginning of something. Not hate, not revenge, resolve. If no one was going to bet on me, then I'd learn how to bet on myself. I moved out with nothing but a duffel bag, a secondhand laptop, and whatever dignity I had left. No money, no job, no one to call. The only apartment I could afford was basically a converted storage closet on the edge of town. Peeling paint, stained carpet, a single window that faced a brick wall. It smelled like old pizza and despair. The mattress was thin enough to feel every spring. The Wi-Fi barely worked, but it was mine, and more importantly, no one could kick me out of it. The first night, I stared at the ceiling for hours. I wasn't angry. Not yet. Just empty. Like someone had scooped me out and left the shell behind. I tried to eat. Couldn't. Tried to sleep. Couldn't. I tried to convince myself this was temporary, but even that felt like a lie. My phone buzzed nonstop. Not from people checking in. From them, Ava, mostly. Posting stories with Sophie. Shopping bags. Rooftop drinks. Weekend brunches with captions like, "One you level up, the real ones stay." One of those real ones used to be me. I muted them all, deleted apps, shut it all off. I told myself I needed time to think. But the truth was, I couldn't bear to see their happiness broadcasted in HD while I ate cold ramen off a plastic lid. Every time I stepped outside, it felt like I was failing in public, running into old classmates, past clients, people who'd say things like, "Still working on that startup," or "Didn't you used to date Sophie?" I stopped going out, stopped answering calls, stopped existing, in a way. One afternoon, I ran into Ava at the grocery store. I was grabbing instant coffee and a loaf of bread. She was loading up a cart full of brand snacks, fresh flowers, and a bottle of imported wine. I tried to turn down the next aisle, but she spotted me and smiled like nothing had happened. "Wow, you look tired," she said, eyes flicking to my basket. "Are you eating enough?" I didn't reply. Didn't trust myself to. She launched into a monologue about Sophie. How things are really good now. How Nathan treats her like a queen. How you just weren't on the same page. Then, like a cherry on top, she leaned in and whispered. She told me everything, you know, about why the relationship didn't work. You really should have paid more attention to her needs. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Not loudly. Not with rage. Just broke. I left my groceries right there and walked out. Didn't say a word. I went home, sat on the edge of the mattress, and told myself out loud, this is the last day I feel sorry for myself. I didn't know how. Didn't have a plan. But I knew one thing, I was going to rebuild. Even if it killed me. So I started small. I found a garage on the other side of town, looking for someone to manage their website and POS system. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid. I bartered tech help for food, fixed neighbors' laptops for $20 and a sandwich, spent nights watching YouTube tutorials on back-end systems and freelance finance. The apartment still sucked, the mattress was still lumpy, and I still had nightmares where I'd wake up thinking Sophie was next to me. But I kept going. One line of code, one cheap meal, one late night at a time. I applied to online classes, free ones mostly, downloaded lectures, took notes by hand when the screen froze, relearned Python, picked up accounting, started studying system design like my life depended on it, because in a way, it did. A month passed, then two. I wasn't thriving, not yet, but I wasn't broken anymore, either. I was surviving, quietly, privately, relentlessly. They say rock bottom teaches you lessons the top never will. Turns out, they're right. My life became a routine so tight it could crack a diamond. Up at 5 a.m., push-ups on the living room floor, instant coffee, cold shower, then straight to the garage on the other side of town, where I fixed everything from broken receipt printers to clunky, outdated networks. The pay wasn't much, but it was consistent, and I made myself indispensable. While the other techs came in late and left early, I stayed, rewiring systems, rewriting code, and even reworking their client database from scratch. The manager, an old guy named Rick, noticed. At first, he just let me tinker. Then he started asking for help on more complex stuff: inventory tracking, POS automation, and customer segmentation. Eventually, he gave me a key and said, "You open now. I trust you more than my son." That hit harder than I expected. I didn't just want to work hard. I wanted to matter. And for the first time in months, I felt like I did. Outside of work, I kept grinding. Online classes every night. Khan Academy, MIT OpenCourseWare, Udemy courses paid with promo codes. I studied until my eyes blurred. Systems design, cost structures, cloud infrastructure, and predictive modeling. I didn't have a mentor. I had YouTube playlists and a fire under my ribs. I started applying what I learned. Built a basic analytics dashboard for Rick's garage. Something that could track which services made the most money, which parts vendors had better margins, and which clients never came back twice. The first time I showed it to Rick, he blinked at the screen like I'd just handed him a crystal ball. "Where'd you learn to do this?" "Online." He looked at me for a long time. "Do you ever think about doing something bigger than this place?" I shrugged, trying to save up for something that's mine. "A house, maybe." He smiled. "Good goal. But don't sell yourself short. You've got brains and grit. That combo's rare." That sentence stayed with me. Because for the first time since Sophie walked out, someone saw me not as a failure, but as a builder. The grind didn't stop. Weekends were spent doing side gigs, setting up email systems for small businesses, fixing old MacBooks for students, even coding a custom booking app for a local barbershop. One client became two. Two became six. Money was still tight, but the fear of not making it began to fade. For the first time, my bank balance wasn't a joke. For the first time, I didn't wince when the rent hit. For the first time, I felt proud of myself. Of course, the world didn't stop spinning just because I was healing. Every now and then, Sophie's name would pop up. A mutual friend would mention how her Instagram had gotten quieter, how the rooftop dinners and designer bags had slowed down, how Nathan was apparently dating someone younger. Big surprise, Ava. She had gone radio silent. No more curated captions, no more subtle digs, just absence. And honestly, that was fine with me. I was busy becoming someone I didn't need to explain myself to. I started journaling again, writing out goals, mapping ideas, dreaming, quietly, carefully, of starting something new. But this time, not a tech startup that hinged on VCs and hype. This time, something sustainable, practical, scalable. Maybe a consulting business, maybe a digital product shop, maybe buying into Rick's garage and modernizing it fully. The point wasn't the what. It was that I had options again. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't surviving just to prove something. I was building because I wanted to. That's when I realized something had shifted. I no longer felt the need to check their social media. I no longer replayed the betrayal like a movie in my head. I didn't need closure. I needed motion. And I had it. One late night, after finishing a redesign for a mobile repair shop, I leaned back, stared at my screen, and whispered to myself, "You're not that guy on the mattress anymore." And I smiled, not out of arrogance, not out of revenge, just peace. It started with a phone call. Rick had just locked up the shop when I got there. A client I'd done some back-end analytics work for months ago was now heading expansion at a venture capital firm. They were looking to acquire smaller operations with growth potential in the auto services space. He wanted me on the consulting team. Short-term contract, high impact. My job: assess internal systems, clean up their data, and present viability reports to the board. I said yes without asking about the target. It wasn't until I got the briefing email that I saw the name Coraxis Auto Group, and there they were, listed right on the org chart: CEO Nathan Whitaker, head of PR say Ava Reynolds, executive assistant Sophie Lynn. My hands went still on the trackpad. I stared at the screen for a long time. The company Sophie left me for, the boss she'd chosen over me, and Ava, my sister, still right beside her. Out of all the companies in the region, fate, or karma, chose this one. But I didn't flinch, didn't panic. Just got to work. I spent 2 weeks combing through their public and private data. Their margins were awful. Client retention is tanking. Brand reputation stagnant. Their executive pay had ballooned while operations suffered. They didn't need a report. They needed a reckoning. The morning of the presentation, I wore a navy suit. Tailored, simple, not to impress, just to stand there like a man who belonged. I arrived 15 minutes early, set up my laptop, laid out the printouts, sipped black coffee, calm and steady. I figured they'd avoid me. But some people don't like loose ends, especially when the power has shifted, and suddenly, I'm the one with options. They entered together, Nathan first, then Sophie, then Ava trailing behind with a tablet, laughing at something, until they saw me. Nathan's expression locked mid-step, Sophie's face drained of color. Ava's eyes widened like she'd seen a ghost. I didn't move, didn't smile. I stood and extended a hand toward Nathan. "Mr. Whitaker, nice to see you again." He recovered just enough to shake it. "You're with the acquisition team. Consulting analyst. I'll be walking the board through your operational health. We're starting with expense structuring, then market performance." He nodded stiffly. Sophie glanced at me like she didn't know where to look. Ava avoided eye contact altogether. I didn't acknowledge either of them. Not yet. The meeting began. Slide by slide, I laid it bare. Inaccurate expense reports, obsolete CRMs, a marketing strategy from 5 years ago, over-leveraged executive bonuses while service-level staff faced layoffs. I wasn't emotional. I was clinical. Midway through, Nathan interrupted. "We're restructuring. These numbers don't reflect our new direction." I looked at him, expression flat. "The data reflects the consequences of your old one. The board is here to decide if your new direction is salvageable." Silence. At the end, the board thanked me. One partner leaned in and said, "You don't speak much, but when you do, it lands. Great work." I gathered my things and left the room without a word to either of them, but I knew that wasn't the end. When power shifts, so do loyalties. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Can we talk, please, just for a moment, Sophie?" I sighed. Of course, people only come back when they feel small. She was waiting near the side entrance when I reached the parking lot. Same black heels I remembered. Different posture, shoulders lower, eyes unsure. "Matt," she said softly. "I didn't know you were with the firm. I didn't expect to see you. I didn't come here for you." "I know." she said quickly. I just needed to say something. She hesitated and looked down. I've thought about you. A lot. I've missed you. I didn't answer. She took a breath, her voice trembling. Nathan wasn't what I thought. He was charming. Until he wasn't. I lost my job title last quarter. I've been doing admin work to stay on payroll. She paused, then added, he's seeing someone else now. 24. Just graduated. She looked at me, eyes glassy. I was stupid. I thought I was trading up, but I was just disposable. You made your choice, I said flatly. And so did I. I chose to survive. She opened her mouth to reply, but someone called my name. Right, Ava. Jogging up, breathless. Her makeup was perfect, but her voice cracked when she saw me. I didn't know the firm assigned you. I wasn't trying to hide anything. Please believe that. I'm not here to audit your loyalty, Ava. She swallowed hard. I know I hurt you. I know I took their side when you needed me. But things got complicated. No. I cut in. They got convenient. For you. She looked like she wanted to cry. Then came the final card. We're still family. I didn't laugh. I didn't explode. I just said, family doesn't ghost you for brunch invitations. Family doesn't repost rooftop pictures while you sleep on a floor. Family doesn't come running only when the title changes. She opened her mouth, closed it again, speechless. Sophie tried one last time. Can we try again? I'm not that man anymore, I said, staring right through her. And you're not someone I trust. I turned. Left them standing there, same way they once left me. Back at the garage, Rick handed me a Coke. How'd it go? I took a long sip, then smiled. Let's just say, if they thought I was replaceable, they finally understand how wrong they were. That night, I sat at my desk, the contract folder still warm in my briefcase. The past had tried to knock, but I didn't answer because I wasn't done rising, and they weren't worth slowing down for. 3 days after the board meeting, my phone rang again. This time, it was my father. We hadn't spoken in over a year. He didn't call when I lost my apartment. I didn't check in when I was crashing on a friend's floor. Didn't even text after Sophie walked out and I disappeared for months. But now that I had a house, now that my name showed up on contracts, suddenly, I was back in rotation. I let the call go to voicemail. Matt, Ava told me everything. She's having a hard time. Says you've got space. Don't let a fight from the past ruin your sense of duty. You were raised better than this. Raised better. That's funny. Coming from the man who let me raise Ava after mom died. Who stayed distant but always expected loyalty. I didn't respond. The next day, Ava called again. Then texted. Then knocked. I ignored them all. Until Thursday night, when I got home from work, she was there, sitting on the front steps. 2 duffel bags beside her, 1 suitcase. She stood up when I walked up the path. Hey, I'm not here to fight. I've been evicted. I figured maybe I could stay here for a while, just until I sort things out. I looked at her, calm, tired, not humble, just expectant. You brought all your stuff without even asking. She gave a little shrug, almost like a smile. You've got the space, and we're family. That word again. Family, so often used as a shortcut to obligation. You didn't think to call first. I did. You ignored me. For a reason. She sighed, shifting her weight. Look, I know I made some bad calls, but Nathan bailed on me. Sophie blocked me. I don't have anyone else. You had me? I said. And you chose them. You watched me get humiliated and did nothing. I didn't know how bad it was. You didn't want to know. I cut her off. You were too busy playing cool older sister at their parties. She swallowed hard. That was a mistake. I see that now. I just need somewhere to land. I looked at the bags again, like she had already made the decision for me. You're not here to say sorry, I said. You're here because you think I owe you shelter after everything. It's not about owing, she said quickly. It's about family. We don't leave each other behind. I let that sit for a second. You did. She flinched. Matt, please. I know I messed up, but I've got nothing left. This is rock bottom. No, I said, stepping aside to unlock the door. It's your bottom. And I won't be the cushion that makes it softer. I went inside, came back out with a folded bill in hand. There's a budget motel 2 blocks over. I'll cover tonight. After that, it's up to you. She stared at the money like it was a slap in the face. Unbelievable. You really think you're better than me now? No, I said. I just know what it cost to get here. And I'm not letting anyone drag me back down. She didn't take the cash, just grabbed her bags and muttered, You've changed. No, I said. I finally started protecting myself. She walked off without another word. That night, I cooked dinner in a quiet kitchen. Sat at my table. No guilt. No anger. Just stillness. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't bracing for the next disappointment. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from my father. You'll regret this. I looked at it for a moment, then deleted the message, blocked the number. Regret? Maybe, but not tonight. Not for choosing peace, not for walking away from people who only reached out when they needed something, and definitely not for closing the door that should have been shut a long time ago. It's been 7 months since I closed the door. Not just on Ava, not just on my father, but on the version of me that always made space for people who never once asked how I was holding up. It's strange how quiet life becomes when you stop chasing closure, when you stop hoping the apology will come, when you stop bleeding to prove your worth being kept. I still wake up early, still make black coffee before the sun is fully up, still keep the house clean, because I remember what it felt like to have nothing. But something's shifted. I don't wait for messages that never come. I don't replay conversations in my head, wondering what I could have said to make them stay. I don't flinch when I hear a knock at the door. Because now, when people show up, it's because they want to, not because they want something. The garage is doing well. I started bringing in 2 apprentices from the tech school nearby. They remind me of myself at 20. Rough edges, smart hands, no one believing in them yet. But I do. Because someone should. One of them, Kyle, asked me last week why I don't talk about my family much. I paused. Then said, sometimes peace costs the people who liked you best when you were quiet. He nodded. Didn't press. That's what healing looks like, I think. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just the slow, deliberate return to your own voice. A few weeks ago, Sophie showed up. Not at my house, thank God. At the garage, she was wearing sunglasses indoors and holding a fancy leather folder like it was a shield. She said she just wanted to touch base. Apparently Nathan dumped her. The investors pulled out, and word on the street is she's looking for someone stable to partner with on a new idea. I told her I wished her well and walked back inside. She didn't follow. Neither did the past. Because the thing is, it doesn't matter how many people walk away. If you're willing to stay with yourself fully, you never end up alone. These days, my circle is smaller, quieter, but stronger than anything I had back when I was trying to earn love. There's a woman I've been seeing. Her name's Leela. She laughs with her whole chest, and when I told her about everything, not the polished version, but the real one, she didn't flinch. She said, I'm proud of you for leaving. Not, that's so sad. Not, they'll come around. Just pride. The kind I never thought I deserved. We built shelves last weekend, drank cider on the back porch, watched the neighbor's dog chase its own tail like it was the most important mission in the world. And in that moment, no headlines, no applause, no dramatic plot twist, just sunlight on old wood. I realized this is what it means to win. Not revenge, not status, just peace. The kind you build, the kind you don't owe to anyone, the kind no one can take from you, because you didn't ask them to give it. I used to think family was forever. Now, I believe respect is earned, and peace is chosen. And the moment I stopped chasing both from people who couldn't give either, it was the moment I finally became free.